Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to we haven't done a detox class in a while, so I'll explain a little bit more in a minute or two as we get set up as to why we're doing a detox class tonight. But welcome if you're just joining on, and we'll get started here in a few minutes. If you're online and you have the ability to say hi in the live chat, I do have my live chat set up tonight, so feel free to say what's up, Andre. Oh, nice. And join us later. Um, Wonderful. Yeah, it could be a different time of day for sure. So if later works, then enjoy the practice. It's a nice one before you go to bed, perhaps. Let's see if we got anybody else joining us here tonight. And you'll see I've got myself in a different position. And so bear with me. Figured I'd warm it up a little bit with the fire. And I was just trying to find a space inside tonight because it's pretty chilly outside. So, Alberto, good evening. I think tonight, I know we have the option, and of course, you can indulge yourself in the option to listen and to music as you practice, but I would offer you the opportunity to practice without music and find the quietest place that you can to practice. And if there are noises and sounds around you, make that part of your practice, but see if you can settle right in with what we're all feeling and what may come up and throughout your practice this evening. Angie, welcome. Of course, Jody, nice to have you. And I know I just posted this on Instagram, so perhaps people will see it pop up, or they can see it later on the channel. So I wanted to get together tonight and offer a detox practice based on everything that has been going on in our country today, specifically in the capital. And here's the important thing to remember about yoga and teaching yoga. Teacher of yoga is not here and to actually teach you anything. Only here to actually invite you into the space where you can feel and where you can process and where you can develop an understanding and become clear upon the things that are passing through you, with taking into account all the things that are going on. So as you know, again, we had a really wild, I don't know how to describe it. I think we're still processing what is taking place in our country right now, and that's okay. And so again, I'm not here to make a lesson of it or teach you anything. I'm here to actually be here with you. I always talk about, or recently I've been talking about, we all need a yoga buddy, and I say that's what we are by offering these classes, because it's hard to get to your mat, and how many of us would have gotten to our mat all on our own tonight, or we would just continue to engage in the news and the media and trying to interpret what is happening. So by diving into this hour, and especially in the detox practice, and where we can sit with the emotions that are passing through, the feelings, the thoughts, and everything that your body may be holding on to, I think there's incredible value of which you can discover on your own. And that's why I always look forward to sharing about the practice afterwards, or the days coming. So I always invite you to reach out and email or message, because you're having your experience, I'm having mine, and if we can develop the ability and the trust, and to create this conversation about the union, about the yoga and what is happening inside of us during these experiences, then I think there's a great way that we can all in the light, and we can all share in the life and in events that are sometimes positive and really happy events that we've had in our lives, but also the ones where they seem pretty dark. And today's one of those dark, and I think we're all feeling this heaviness in us as Americans. So in the heaviness, will encounter the light, and no matter how dark it may seem. So I'm glad you're here. I look forward to sharing this practice with you. Again, me being set a little bit into the background here with the fire, I think it's okay. Fall into your practice, and hopefully we'll be able to connect and have a nice conversation at some point in the future. And if anything, we have this, come back to it, and do it again later. All right, let's go ahead and lie down onto your backs, please. As you lie down, and go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together, and let the knees fall apart. I have my favorite t-shirt on from our good friend Ari. This showed up at the studio one day magically during quarantine when I was recording, and Ari and I hadn't actually met in person at that point yet. He found us through his cousin at the studio during quarantine, and then left me this shirt. The only language I speak fluently is love. I love it, clearly. So thank you, Ari. Let's start with your right hand onto your belly tonight, your left hand onto your chest. I'll guide you into feeling and to allowing your breath to be as natural as it possibly can be. And a nice tone for your practice could be to observe your heartbeat. You observe the subtle vibrations that are traveling through your body as you work your way into stillness in some of these poses. If you find that you are holding on to quite a bit, holding on to a lot, and feeling that unsettled or unrested energy through you, and let the poses and let the time and the space and that will be held for you in the poses and reconcile all of that. So you might have to stick it out for a little while and lessen the expectation. But then perhaps you may find moments or several moments within a posture where you can literally feel it falling away physically, mentally, and emotionally. And from there you might find some connection, some yoga, union. And we will drop into deeper spaces of silence, and so don't worry, I didn't go anywhere. I will come back around, and my voice will come in to guide you back and from wherever you may have gone, and then remember very slowly through the transitions. And we don't want to rustle ourselves as we go in pretty deep into the body, and always coming out nice and slowly. And your next breath, go ahead and take a nice big inhale to your nose, and then full exhale out of your mouth. And then we're going to let this opening shape go, and by taking your legs straight, and then bring your arms down by your sides. Let your palms face up. And we'll set up here in Savasana. So any little adjustments in that you need, and make them. You can tuck or untuck the shoulders, and you can set the hips. Let your big toes fall out. And once you settle into the posture, of course, you are welcome and to close your eyes without trying to close your eyes. If your eyes close fairly naturally, wonderful. If they simply soften and there's a little slit in your eye and you're just blurring your vision up onto the ceiling or wherever you may be practicing with whatever is above you, and that's okay too. invite us all to feel the place here that and that we all hold as a human being, and quite literally the physical space that is your body on your mat. And feel where you landed, and feel where you get to exist, and you're supported to exist right here for the next hour. You very gently begin to move your toes and your fingers. And then lengthen your arms up over your head. Give yourself a stretch here in the evening. And please bend your legs so that your feet are flat onto the mat. Then keep your left arm up over your head. We'll roll onto your left hip. And lie here onto your side, please. And let your head rest down into your bicep as a pillow. And let's let the jaw go. And put a little space here between your lips. Wow, feel this pressure behind in the eyes. And traveling across, disperse. And the tightness, if it's been pointing, digging deeper into in the forehead, disperse, soften, and release. And pressure behind the eyes and across your forehead. And a little looser in the belly already. And then you can use your right hand, and we'll make our way around to all fours. And then let's set up for a child's pose. I should have mentioned before we started, and that you can have some pillows or you can have some blankets. And you can always pad your body here as we get into the postures this evening, and to make them as comfortable as possible while sitting in the discomfort. And so set your knees as wide as your hips, or based on your body, a little wider, a little closer. And then nestle your bum back into your heels. If you're really holding on to that stress in your belly, it could be nice to put a blanket across your thighs, and then come down onto the blanket, and come down onto the forearms. And then eventually let your forehead come down. And to release and to relax on something, we can adjust the elbows and to accommodate the shoulders. And heck, on a day like today, you may just feel child's pose, whereas normally you're like, oh, child's pose, I don't really feel that pose too much. And now you're like, oh, I really feel child's pose. Especially down into the flexion that it creates in your hip creases. And please honor dominance and non-dominance and through the sides of your body, and yet maintain the discipline and to release equally as you allow gravity and to settle and soften anything that you feel. And you can observe and whatever comes up, because if we're playing in the body, we're playing in the relationship to the mind. And so based on what we're doing with the body, don't be surprised if things come up into your mind, and then observe them. Your mindfulness practice, and to observe anything that does appear in through our mind, to not necessarily get fixated and attached too deeply to our thoughts. And enjoy as we continue to settle now and deeper into the posture. If this is one of your first few detox classes, it's incredible for unwinding and winding down at the end of the day. And I promise you, as your yoga buddy, that whatever you're thinking, it's okay that you're thinking. Meditation does not mean that you cannot be thinking. And actually, those thoughts that you're having are your teacher. Remember, I said at the beginning, I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to support you through the process, and to identify some opportunities and to incorporate this practice into your life as part of your being, as we all continue and to wake up. Wake up. And wake up. As you sit in your child's pose, I would love to share some energy that passed through me today. As things were playing out this morning, if you had these types of feelings, I would not be surprised. I had an immediate feeling that I wanted to be with my family. I wanted to reach out and be with my family. So physically, I could be with my wife and my son. And I was like, yes, we're gonna be home, and you make that happen as soon as possible. Just want to be with family, but then also those feelings of I want to be with my mom. I want to connect with my dad. I want to connect with my brother. I want to pull, right, all of us and together. I think that's a very natural response based on the events that took place today. So if you had those feelings, I wouldn't be surprised. And then I always consider, okay, what do we do if we have those feelings and our loved ones perhaps aren't close enough or aren't here and physically on this earth anymore? So I'd like to open up the space in the practice and to join together and to connect to our closest and connect near and to connect far. And then little by little, as we open up to it, and perhaps we can connect and feel that connection with each other and practicing together tonight. And then you might just start to get this flood of energy as a recipient, if you're open to it, where you just continue to add more and more people that you're practicing with, and see how that feels. At this point, if you're starting to get a nice throb in your hips, or you're starting to get some tingles in your toes, we've been compressed in this child's pose for about 3 minutes. We're going to stay for about 90 more seconds. And I give you that information and so that you can release and relax and say, okay, I can do that. And perhaps I can even let go a little bit more. If you hold a strong relationship into discipline and holding yourself accountable in your heart and in those ways, now is the time to feel the opposite. You trust the opportunity to release. You know that you are supported in many ways, of which you may not even be able to account for in real time, and see how that feels. Go ahead and observe through your next breath. And very slowly we can start to bring some weight into the hands. And let your forehead come off the mat, and followed by the hips lifting off your heels. And take a breath and perhaps even a sigh. Let some of that flow come through you. And it might feel nice. Keep your head heavy, even your eyes closed. And we can move the hips a little bit from side to side. And after a little bit of movement, and curl your toes under, spread your fingertips, and then come into a downward facing dog. And down dog, a pose that we're typically so used to as a transition pose. Moving us through our vinyasa practice, the foundational and posture within the vinyasa practice. But here for our purposes of detox, it's just a nice way of opening up and feeling and release and some of the flow and the energy and travel through our bodies. With your head below your heart, take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale, release all the air. Let's come down onto our knees, please. I did not happen to grab my block or my pillows tonight, but that's okay. Sit back onto your heels if you have one, and you may use it underneath your right sit bone now. So bring your right leg out in front of you, and you can sit onto your left heel. And adjust as needed. Your right leg is straight and your toes, and let them relax. And so we're going to track a line from the back of the leg and through the back of the spine. Your upper body as a lever, so crawl your fingers forward. And you can start high. So we're going to be moving our way through these feelings and through the observation of our thoughts. And so it's not a place where you have to come down right? And kind of sledgehammer your way into the body. Go nice and slow. And there'll be opportunities if we want to inch the hands a little further forward. I'll probably give you 3 opportunities into a place where, okay, I can feel the sensation in the back of my leg. I might be able to feel that in relationship through the spine and the shoulders and the neck, but it's not ultimately overwhelming in the ability to remain still. If we could all start to pool our energy into the collection of breath, the true essence of life, and the opportunity to flip this switch and to go inside. It's inevitable. I've always talked about it in the practice of yoga that we will wake up. Everybody will wake up, and most of the time we will wake up when something bad happens. Inevitably so, something bad happens. You are called to go inside, and you will reflect, and from there, and you will connect in ways that you didn't see and before that something bad happened. What we're doing versus reacting into that which is going on, right? We're sitting in the framework of our practice and where that's always a real possibility, and to reflect and to connect, and hopefully we have a basis and we have a practice and that is built up and to support us long before something bad happens. And so when something bad does happen, the situation and the circumstances can be incredibly unique, like today. And yet we have the tools and the ability to process our ways and energies back through the light and back through connection, back through oneness. And so these aren't just words. These are real things that are playing out through you and through me, through us. And that's why we sit in these poses. If you'd like to crawl your hands a little further and let your head hang, this is the second opportunity. Go a little bit deeper. And check in with the jaw. Keep it loose and the head heavy. You might feel a nice bit of pressure and building in the chest. And we're compressing through the front of the spine and down onto the diaphragm, through the belly, internal organs. And keep feeling that elongated line in through the back body from your right heel all the way through the back of your neck. And if you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, and slide your hands forward and keep the toes relaxed. And we'll be here for about 1 more minute. And keep the head heavy. Let's walk the hands back nice and slow. And use your arms to support you through your spine as you roll up one vertebra at a time. Feel the air and some of that lightness as you lift and stack. Yeah, there should be or could be some achiness. That's okay. And head above your heart and take a nice big inhale. And then go ahead and sigh, exhale all the air. To work our way back, and we're going to bring your right leg back so you're on your right shin. And then to release and to feel the rebound, and crawl your hands forward, come down onto your belly, and we'll let both legs go out straight behind us. And as you come down onto your belly, legs long, and you can turn your right cheek and stack your palms. And let your low back release. And feel your chest, belly. And let your mat support you here. Enjoy the release. Feel the flow. And profound confidence and to feel the flow as you come into these rebound moments and throughout your detox practice. And I know in many ways we're going through some of the more challenging times that we've ever experienced in our lives. But you can release the pressure. Right? It's not about saying the right thing. It's not about doing the right thing. We're going through a fundamental, ground-shattering, right, culture and societal changes. And we hope better. That's all we can do. And the way we go through this is by building in a framework and exploring a lifestyle or a practice, which you all are doing. All too many times people think it's just about saying the right thing, doing the right thing. If I do the right thing. What about listening and truly reflecting and breaking what needs to be broken down? You reach the core. And then feel that within yourself and build everything back up in ways you never saw possible. And connecting to people and places in ways you wouldn't have before. And so again, it's not going to be easy when you're going through a change of culture and societal influence and challenging some of these stories and scripts that have been embedded for maybe even over 100 years. And start to bring your chin back square. And hands underneath your shoulders. And then you can make your way back up into all fours. And take a breath. It might feel nice again to move your hips a little bit from side to side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and sit back onto your heels. If you want your block, your pillow, or your blanket underneath your left and sit bone this time, you can untuck your left leg, bring it out in front of you. And adjusting so that you're sitting onto your right ankle, you're sitting onto your right heel. And relax your left toes. And start high. Don't worry about, again, diving so deep that you're like, ooh, how am I ever going to sit here for 5 minutes? Start high and let your hands support. And some of it is in settling in a place. And once you get through those initial waves of sensations in places you may not even, like the left leg is the focus, but the right toes, the right ankle, you're like, ooh, I'm feeling that tonight. So, right, little blanket, a little towel, pillow underneath your right ankle, that can help. And pad yourself, especially if it's the bones, right, the way that you're sitting into the bone structure of your body. It's uncomfortable. And tell you what, even when we were doing detox practices every night, your mind is doing something different. It's functioning in a different frequency, and that you're probably not even going to remember. If you had done this same thing yesterday, what you felt, it's a really good practice of dropping you into what's happening here. And taking good care and letting go, and so that you're not balling up all of this stress, all of this energy. If you'd like to walk the hands out a little further, and chin to the chest, and second, and wave, deepening the release, go for it. And if you want to crawl the hands a little bit more forward, Let it settle, soften down into your new layer, into your new edge. And we'll exist here for about 1 more minute. Whew. Take it nice and slow. Use your hands, and we'll begin to roll ourselves back up, one vertebra at a time. And feel the lightness through your spine. Head comes above your heart. And take a nice full breath in here at the top, and where it gets a little bit lighter, and then we can start to slide that left leg back. And so the shin comes up underneath you. Oh, sound effects are okay. And then come on forward to your hands. And come down onto your belly. And let your legs release out behind you. And stack your palms once again and switch to the other cheek. So if you did the right cheek, turn to your left cheek. And land in some space in your body. Which, remember, your body is always in constant communication with your mind. So this is how we work towards a more relaxed and peaceful mind. And the 5 minutes is worth the 30 seconds to a minute of feeling. And what you're feeling right here is the flow comes back through you. You just think it's like removing a clog in the pipe. And the water can flow freely. Nice. You can bring your chin back to center. And hands up underneath your shoulders. And then let's start to make our way back up to all fours, hands and knees. And then from hands and knees, you can move a little bit and from side to side. And then feel it, right, a little bit more actively in the pose and downward facing dog. Tuck your toes. And it's quite nice and to feel in the posture with your arms over your head. If you're collapsing into your shoulders, put a little bend to your knees. Feel how your legs then support you more. And that'll create a little bit more space too for your low back, so that whatever stress and emotions that you might be holding on to in your low back, and you can start to open that up. notice that you're hearing me take some of those deep breaths. Those are completely intuitive. I can't even guide you to them on your own. I just encourage you to take them whenever you feel like taking them. And that's just my internal process, and the pressure and the stress and everything that's held in my body coming out. And let's make your way back down onto your knees. And then step your right foot forward in between your hands, please. And frame your front foot. And you can always double pad your left knee, or you could set a pillow or a blanket underneath your left knee. So on a high impact day like today, you're like, oh, we're gonna do an intense low lunge for sure. Right? We know these experiences, they fall right into our hips. And so as you frame your front foot, your right knee is coming up underneath the front of your chest and the front of your shoulder. And then find a place and where your hips are coming forward and down. But then you're able to settle and soften your chin and let your forehead release. Your neck. You're going to find that forward folding is a nice way to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system response, the rest and digest. And no need for me to rile you guys up tonight doing back bends and things of sorts. Some forward folding and hip opening. And let it mellow us out a little bit. You remember, your practice is the discipline of taking your words beyond the interpretation of words, beyond the things that you say, putting it into action. Calling yourself when you're a little off course, a little self-reflection, internal understanding. And that we're all going to have these variances. We're all going to, kind of skew off to the left and then off to the right, and yet give ourselves the opportunity in practice and to feel when we are in tune, when we are in alignment. And the practice being the path, and you're all on it. I'm on mine. You're on yours. You remember that you don't have to know what you're doing. You should not. If you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, then I am high-fiving you all the way. And if you get caught in that trap and the pressure of thinking you need to know what you're doing, and there's a nice little mantra, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I know some of you have a tendency, you always want to bring your right hand inside and drop the shoulder inside the knee. But even if it's And sticking you and holding you up, explore the expansion of space while keeping the knee resting in front of the chest, in front of the shoulder, and let your head hang heavy. We'll stay for about 5 more breath cycles. Go ahead and flutter your lips as you release this next breath. And you might feel a little bit of the burn and the achiness, and use your arm support as the hips come back. And then you can slide your right foot back and come onto all fours. And we'll feel this rebound by shuffling the knees forward a little bit. And sit onto your shins directly, or you can put a block in between your feet. And then rest your hands onto your thighs, palms face down. And head is above your heart. And then please close your eyes. And close your eyes, sit back a little bit. Feel how you're grounding and elevating. And within this state, within your practice, simultaneously, I'm grounding and I'm elevating and I'm open and to process and to feel all the energy. And powerful it all comes through you. Let's go ahead and open the eyes, come forward, and we'll switch sides and bring your left foot in between your hands. Slide your right knee back. So understand, if your hips are really tight, right, and you're just sitting here in kind of the box, 290-degree angles with your legs, that is totally fine. If you can lengthen it out, and by sliding your right knee back more, and then letting your knee rest into the front of your chest, into the front of your shoulder. And then as you get set, settle and relax any grip in your toes and let your head start to come down. Now, you know the detox practice is working. You guys ever get a massage, and then after the massage you get up and you're all dry? Right? You just need to drink some water. Right? You start to get that effect as you're working into the connective tissue of your body, the fascia, and getting into the layers of the fascia and the connective tissue. And we're infecting or affecting the entire web and system of the entire body. That's where you get to say funky things like the tip is connected to your left eye. Maybe I start to believe that it's all connected, this state, this vessel. It's got to be. It's easy enough and to explore that, especially at this point of your practice this evening. feel pretty good about getting deeper into the sensations in your body and going inward. And even if, again, you're just starting your practice, you've never done this type of practice before, and seeing that there is a frame you can invest in, and through these changes and challenges in change, but change is persistent and it's constant, and we can actually find a way of interpreting change in a positive way, even if sometimes it doesn't feel directly positive in the moment. Let's keep the head heavy and belly soft. Right, feel in your hips, and we'll stay for about 30 more seconds, please. Please. It could be a lot coming up through you right now, so go slow as you start to bring your hips back a little bit. And feel the knee free from the shoulder. And slide your left foot back and come on to all fours, please. And once you get onto all fours, you can crawl both knees over to the right, and we'll turn around to lie down onto your backs. And once you get onto your back, and some cricks and cracks and creaks, let your legs go straight, and see if it was all held up in the belly and around the diaphragm. If you can lie here, let your arms open up into a T, and get that deeper breath, right? I felt the sigh from the top of the chest. It might take a few rounds of breath, but you may feel that extra elevation of breath, and then a deep grounding and release, reconciliation into peace. You do not have to know what you're doing when we are on our mat. There's a lot of responsibilities that everybody holds and is accountable for on a daily basis. But you do not have to know what you're doing. In full permission, full access, and to reveal the true essence of the human being. And when we're here on our mats, right, the space is being held for you. And yet it's your practice, and to feel and to trust and to explore the process and to reveal in these moments of connection, the yoga. know most of you have been practicing throughout this pandemic and throughout the last 10 months of this virtual experience. And all I can say is we have no idea what's going to happen next. And so if you find that in space in your day, 1 hour a day, invest in your flow, right? All I know is that it's building in a perspective. It's putting in some support nets and places for you to fall when you need to fall. And yet you're not going to crash and hurt yourself. You're going to be supported. Hopefully you get some feeling of the community. Community is so important and something that I know we're all longing for and missing in so many ways, whether it's just simple passing by and practicing next to each other in person, right? Or a little bit more intimate and hugs and, chats and pre-yoga chats, post-yoga chats. And community, it's so, so, so important. If not an hour a day, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, all good. And just hop in and flow with us every day. That's what we're doing. Hey, you guys, you're welcome to relax and to stay here in your Savasana as long as you'd like to this evening. I'm glad that we were able to land in the practice tonight. Apologize that we did not find the practice today in the afternoon as we normally do, but always willing to adjust, and definitely always going to find that hour in the day to practice. So thank you for being here live. Thank you for practicing if you're doing this later or you're finding this practice the next day. I hope you find it of benefit and use in your life and feeling some calm and hopefully a nice rest from here. Thank you for your practice, and I look forward to sharing the breath and the practice with you all again tomorrow. Beautiful night, everyone. And be well. Namaste.